Marquand, Ozzy, Irma, and nationally. Do we have any peer shout-outs? Yeah, Timus?
I want to shout out Willie right here. Everything he says, like, it reminds me of how good he is. Like, he doesn't talk much, so I kind of underestimate him. But when the debates come up, he's gonna be one of the person I watch out for. He says a whole bunch of smart things. He be like discreet with it, but I'm watching out for him.
Okay. Round of applause for Willie for good comments. Ashley?
I want to shout out the whole class because basically, like at the beginning of the year, nobody really talked, and now like we have more and more people getting shout outs every day.
Okay, so group round of applause. Jacob?
I'd like to shout out Timus because I've known him since before I moved to Homestead. That was like back when I was in elementary. He's always been a bright kid, and he's still smart. I mean, he's only gotten smarter.
Okay, so Timus. About the mindset of the white Afrikaners. Do they think of themselves as some great, big, bad, you can't touch us power?
No.
What is their history?
They're weak.
They're weak. They keep losing to the British. They're always fighting for their survival. And for the first time in their history in the 1940s, they don't have to fight with the British. So suddenly, what kind of power are they going to use on everyone else? Extreme power. And they've never treated black South Africans well, and that's where we get apartheid. So we've been talking about apartheid. That's what led to it. We're going to flip that on its head today, and we're going to talk about what came after it. Given this extreme history of back and forth and power struggles, how is it that a country goes from this sort of violence, this back and forth, to being the miracle nation? Or is it a miracle nation? You're going to be telling us at the end of class. The RWC skills that you'll be using in the process of this are comprehension and reading, vocabulary, and higher order thinking. Those should be pretty obvious, but you'll be going into not just this text, but a main text that talks about the new South Africa. Writing, you'll be doing a couple writing activities, and in the end, you'll be writing, get your emotional trauma out of the way now, 2 paragraphs, 14 sentences that explain your views on the transition to democracy. And college, you already did teamwork. You'll also be practicing public speaking through an activity we do at the front. So I want you to turn and talk. We talked about pre-1948. Now let's flip to 1994. Nelson Mandela has just been elected president. What sorts of barriers does he face in terms of creating a new South Africa that accepts all people? Think about people's values, mindsets, and experiences. Think about how there have been hundreds of years of violence in this country. What barriers does he face? Turn and talk to the person next to you.
Sorry. Speak up a little bit.
I think that the barriers that he would face when creating a new South Africa would be like people not believing that he actually could create a new South Africa because they've already been through so much with apartheid. So I feel like the people like wouldn't trust him to do it.
Well, I think that some of the white people that still support apartheid, they might like not support him or might even try to to fight back for apartheid. Might want
I want to hear from at least 2 people. What sorts of barriers would Mandela face? Nicole?
I think that one of the barriers that he would face is the fact that some of the black South Africans won't trust him because I guess he's putting too much faith in the white South Africans.
That's an absolutely excellent point. Absolutely excellent point. That he's not going to have trust from black South Africans because he's saying, oh, forget the past, move on. Jacob?
There was an experiment where scientists did not allow a group of monkeys to leave a cage. So at one point, the scientists left the cage door open, and because they were harmed when they tried to leave, they didn't want to leave. How are they gonna use this freedom now that they do not know what to do with it? They're going to become confused. They're probably going to resort to old ways.
Could someone, building off of that, could someone connect that idea to Plato's cave that we talked about? Does anyone see a connection here with Plato's cave? Willie?
The same reason, like, the monkeys wouldn't want to leave the cage. Once the person that was stuck inside the cave goes outside and he sees how different it is, even if he might believe it, he'll still get harmed by either the light or other people making fun of him.
Right, absolutely. Why do you think being in prison under apartheid would be a badge of honor in the new South Africa? You should provide evidence from the text as well as from classroom discussions.
I put being in prison under apartheid would be a badge of honor in the new South Africa because it shows that you stood up for what you believed in, no matter the consequences. And just like our quarter paper, my quality was courage, and that's pretty much what it showed. So signs of courage.
I agree with you because they're saying, like, even though, like, for example, Mandela, even though he spent 26 years as a political prisoner, he still showed them that they could still go out, they still could do what they want to do, and he was against apartheid and everything. So he showed bravery, even though he spent 26 years as a prisoner.
Martin?
I believe it's a badge of honor because that means he fought for something. He's in jail. He was in jail for some reason. That means he fought for what he believed in. He went in jail because those were the consequences of the law. That's why it was a badge of honor.
What do we infer his perspective is on the new South Africa?
He's basically saying that he's like incredibly impressed about how fast they could have turned around and how well they turned around.
What makes you say that from the text?
Well, Johannesburg, the country had just elected Nelson Mandela as it is. Then President Mandela himself has spent 26 years as a political prisoner. A prisoner in America can't even become a president. So let alone, since he's been in there for 20 years and then become a president, and then the country on top of that is a good country called the Miracle Nation, that is a humongous enormous turnaround.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this? Thank you, Thomas.
In the classroom, but under a tree. Everywhere along the street were minivans used as taxis to bring black.
I want you to go into the text with the person next to you and think about why the author chooses to tell about the meaning of the new South Africa's flag, something we've seen and talked about. Why does the author make the decision to talk about that in such an important church? And what does this say about the country's past and present? Go over this with your partner. Timus is going to start us off, and I want everyone to listen carefully to Timus. And I'm going to call on some people randomly to respond. Do you agree or disagree with Timus and why? Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say because the church is an important thing and it's historical. So when you mix historical with new, like it's like perfection basically. Like as good as you can get it, because like so the old ways can be brought into the new. Because you want something historical like that, you want good memories to be a part of it, not bad. So if you mix it in with the flag, then people will have like a good connotation of it. And it's really important, and so is the flag. So like it connects. The flag is important, the church is important. The church is historical, and the flag is new. So when you combine it, it's something good.
What's your response to that, Karen?
I agree with Timus because, and I can also relate like the flag to the song One Day that we heard because like he was talking about how probably the person was talking about how he went through that bad experience and how he overcame that, and the colors, how the colors represented peace, unity, and how they all came together as one and fought for apartheid, the ending of apartheid.
Great. What's your response to that, Nicole?
My response is I agree with her because in the song it says, they'll call me freedom just like waving a flag, and the flag symbolizes freedom. Even though the black people were there in South Africa, they were free. they weren't technically free because they still had the limitations to the things that they did. And